What is going on, my YouTubers and YouTubettes? It's Jahji here, and welcome back, everybody. SummerSlam is officially here. They're getting ready to put on the go-home shows towards SummerSlam, and this is your WWE Fallout Top 25 Power Rankings for the week of July 26th through August 1st, 2026. Now, this past week was wild. Some stars rose, some fell off hard, and a few of your favorites might have just hit their breaking point. Before we dive into the chaos, remember, I am giving away 2 free copies of GTA 6 when it drops. To enter, just subscribe to the main channel, subscribe to Jahji Clips, and follow me on all social media accounts. Once you're done with that, just head to my most recent upload and comment done. That's your entry. Now, SummerSlam is a week away, tensions are boiling, champions are slipping, contenders are surging, and some of these rankings are going to shock people. This is the most important Fallout list of the summer, and trust me, a few of these placements are gonna piss somebody off. Solo Sikoa holds at number 25 this week, but he stayed busy in all the right ways. First, he popped up on Raw offering his services to Seth Rollins, a wild move that showed just how unpredictable Solo's path has become, even if Seth ultimately shut it down. But then, at the end of Raw, Solo, LA Knight, and Royce Keys got absolutely swarmed by the Bloodline, left laid out in a brutal reminder of who runs the island. But on SmackDown, Solo struck back. See, he, Knight, and Keys infiltrated the show, blindsided Jacob and the Usos, and brawled with them all over the arena. It wasn't a full victory, but it was a message. Solo isn't backing down from the family he walked away from. Lyra Valkyria stays even at number 24 this week, but don't let the silence fool you. This new heel version of Lyra is loading something dangerous. She didn't appear on TV, didn't cut a promo, didn't throw a single kick, but that's exactly what makes her week feel tense. Ever since turning heel, Lyra's been moving differently, and all signs point towards her locking in on Sol Ruka. That feud is bubbling under the surface, and Raw is about to feel the first spark. Whether it's an ambush, a challenge, or a straight up statement, expect Lyra to strike soon, because this new edge she's carrying isn't going away anytime soon. Rusev drops 2 spots to number 23 after a rough week, and honestly, it might be the worst timing possible with SummerSlam just 1 week away. On Raw, he and Paige fell to Chad Gable and Penta, and it was Rusev who tapped out to Gable, a brutal look for a guy who's supposed to be building momentum. Now the big question comes, what's next? He and Ethan Page have been a short-lived pairing, but the Vision are heels just like them, so there goes them challenging for the titles right now, and they're already locked in a feud with Alpha Academy anyways. So does the WWE break this team up before it even gets going? Do we get Page versus Rusev at SummerSlam? Whatever direction they choose, one thing's clear. Rusev did not have the week he needed heading into the biggest show of the summer. Ethan Page drops 2 spots to number 22, and just like Rusev, this week did him no favors at all. On Raw, he took the L alongside Rusev against Chad Gable and Penta, and the way this team has been booked, it's hurting Page way more than it's helping him. When he debuted, Ethan had real heel momentum, real presence, legit upside, but this short-lived pairing with Rusev is dragging him down instead of elevating him. And now, with SummerSlam only a week away, WWE Creative is staring at 2 choices. You either split the team and run Page versus Rusev for the #1 contendership to the IC title, or risk Ethan missing the biggest PLE of the summer entirely. Either way, this wasn't the week Page needed. Fatal Influence slide down 2 spots to number 21 after a mixed but ultimately underwhelming week. Brie Bella beating Lainey Reed on SmackDown was a straight up setback for the group. I'm sorry. That's an L they couldn't afford right now. And then Nikki Bella returned and immediately challenged them to a 6-woman tag at SummerSlam. So it's gonna be Fatal Influence versus Brie, Nikki, and Paige. And on paper, that's a big match. But for a faction that debuted with real heat just a month ago, this setup feels a little light. Fatal Influence should be operating at a higher level, in a bigger feud with bigger stakes. And honestly, injecting Becky Lynch as the veteran leader would elevate everybody involved and give the group the presence it deserves. Think about it. Becky's world champion, you already have the tag titles under your belt, and you can have JC Jane go for the US title. That would be picture perfect. But for now though, they head into SummerSlam with momentum slipping and expectations shrinking slightly. The Vision jump up 2 spots to number 20 after a very productive Monday night. These two walked into Raw and beat Javon Evans and Dragon Lee, 2 of the most beloved acts on the roster, and they did it clean. But they weren't done. After the match, the Vision went hunting, putting the beats on Alpha Academy in a post-match ambush that sent a very clear message. They want smoke, and they want it at SummerSlam. And honestly, it looks like that's exactly where this is headed. The Vision versus the Alpha Academy, titles on the line, and depending on who you ask, maybe Maxine's ass too. The Vision are heating up at the perfect time, and they're finally looking like the dangerous heel team WWE promised. Finn Balor rockets up 4 spots to number 19 after one of his strongest weeks in years. On SmackDown, Balor won the Fatal 4-Way qualifier and punched his ticket to SummerSlam, where he'll face Sami Zayn for the #1 contendership to the WWE Championship. And this doesn't feel like just another workhorse run either. This feels like the WWE finally warming up to the idea of pulling the trigger on a Balor world title push. Remember, this is 10 years after his last one. So with fans frustrated about the same names holding the spotlight between Punk, Reigns, Rhodes, and Rollins, WWE might be shifting toward fresh blood to close out 2026. We have Balor, Oba Femi, Jacob Fatu, heck, even LA Knight still waiting in the wings for his world title opportunity. So Finn's momentum is real. His path is clear. LA Knight stays even at number 18, but man, the WWE creative keeps dangling that false hope in front of us. His promos have been getting sharper, louder, and more passionate, and he's talking like a man ready to break into the main event scene. However, the story remains the same. Big talker, small walker. Knight took another tough loss on Raw, falling to Jacob Fatu, and ended the night getting demolished by Fatu and the Usos. He doesn't drop in the rankings because he did get some revenge on SmackDown when he, Solo, and Royce Keys jumped the bloodline and brawled all over the arena, but still, being a great talker only hits when you can back it up in the ring, and right now, LA Knight's words are landing harder than his wins. Liv Morgan drops 1 spot to number 17 after another rough, curse-filled week. The WWE creative keeps running the same lazy back and forth with her and Io Sky, and this time, it was Liv's turn to get wrecked. First, her precious Dom took an L, and then Danhausen re-cursed her, and as part of his revenge for Liv attacking him earlier on Raw, he sent Io Sky. Io pulled up on the Dan-mobile, blindsided Liv, and left her laid out in the ring, and it was a bad week, plain and simple. But here's the pattern. Every time Liv gets smashed, she fires back on the next Raw, only for Io Sky to cash in on all her momentum and walk out Women's World Champion at SummerSlam. Book it. Jacob Fatu climbs 1 spot to number 16 after a quietly strong week, even if he is still Roman's loyal enforcer. On Raw, Jacob handled business, beating LA Knight semi-clean and reminding everyone why he's one of the most dangerous men in the bloodline. But he wasn't finished there. On SmackDown, he delivered one of the wildest visuals of the week when he launched Royce Keys into the barricade with that signature hip attack. Every time he hits that move, it looks like he just folded a man's soul in half. Pure chaos, pure impact, all ass. He may be Roman's lapdog for now, but he is still racking up moments and racking up highlights, so he's slowly building the kind of momentum that could eventually break him out of that role. Danhausen stays even at number 15, but he had himself a very chaotic week on Raw. He started the show getting jumped by Judgment Day, classic Danhausen misfortune, but he did spend the rest of the night cashing in receipts. First, he got JD absolutely obliterated by Oba Femi, and then he cost Dominic Mysterio his match, and finally, he handed Liv Morgan over to Io Sky like a cursed little delivery man so Sky could beat her down. And all of that nonsense somehow led to the highly anticipated Danhausen versus Dominic Mysterio match at SummerSlam. And Dom has no balls. Why doesn't he put his AAA Mega World title on the line while he's at it? So Danhausen had a weird week, a loud week, and a productive week. But now he's heading into SummerSlam with one goal and one goal only: curse Dom into oblivion. Baron Corbin stays even at number 14, but he made sure his week ended with a statement. For a second, it looked like the WWE was about to no-book him, which would have been a terrible decision. But Trick Williams was in the Fatal 4-Way main event on Raw, and Corbin was nowhere to be seen. But after the Fatal 4-Way qualifier on SmackDown, in which Trick Williams took a part of, Corbin popped out from the crowd and blindsided Trick, dropping him in the middle of the ring and reminding everyone that this version of Corbin is done being overlooked. As Corbin walked up the ramp, Trick grabbed the mic and fired back, challenged him to face him like a man at SummerSlam. And just like that, folks, it's official. Baron Corbin versus Trick Williams for the United States Championship at the biggest party of the summer. Corbin didn't move in the rankings, but he for sure moved the needle this week. Charlotte drops 1 spot to number 13 after a week that was, honestly bittersweet. She did win her qualifier match against Nia Jax on SmackDown, officially punching her ticket to fight for the interim women's WWE Championship at Summerslam, but the way she won is exactly why this week kinda stings. Jade Cargill showed up with the baddies mid-match, jumped Charlotte, and got Nia disqualified, sending a message loud and clear. So Charlotte's back in the title hunt, but she got there bruised, blindsided, and with Jade already circling her like a shark. She's in the championship picture again, but the path she took is gonna leave her sore heading into SummerSlam. Chad Gable climbs one spot to number 12 after another strong week heading into SummerSlam. On Raw, he teamed with Penta and scored the win by making Rusev tap, a huge momentum boost for a guy who already feels like he's peaking at the perfect time. And Gable looks locked in, laser focused, and honestly set up to take the IC title off of Penta at SummerSlam. But man, can the WWE please fix his theme song? You've got an Olympic level All-American walking out to some 2003 biker era Undertaker music. He might as well be coming out to Limp Bizkit. Give this man something triumphant, something Olympic, something Kurt Angle coded, because right now the entrance does not match the excellence. Jade Cargill stays even at number 11, but she made her presence felt in a big way on SmackDown. She rolled in with the baddies and jumped Charlotte mid-match, costing Nia Jax the qualifier and sending a crystal clear message heading into the interim women's WWE title match at SummerSlam. And let's be real, the way the WWE is setting this up, it's obvious the interim champion is coming down to either Jade or Charlotte. Both women have improved massively over the last couple months, both in-ring and character-wise, but fans still see them both as WWE's chosen ones. So whoever wins is for sure getting booed out of the arena. With Jade being the younger act and Charlotte finally clawing her way into babyface sympathy though, the smart play might be Jade winning the interim title, easily setting up Charlotte as the babyface title chaser and Jade as the young, powerful, dominant heel. Does that remind you of anybody, folks? Basically, she's mirroring Charlotte's own rise when she first hit the main roster. So look for SummerSlam to define the both of them. Trick Williams drops one spot to number 10 after a tough but storyline heavy week. See, he lost the Fatal 4-Way qualifier on SmackDown, but honestly, as a rising US champion and still a relatively fresh face on the roster, that loss did nothing for slowing down Trick Williams' hype machine at all. The real story came after the match when Baron Corbin jumped him yet again. Only this time, Trick had something to say. Tired of being blindsided and being hunted, Trick grabbed the mic and challenged Corbin to a match at SummerSlam and put his United States Championship on the line while at it. So it wasn't the week he wanted. I mean, nobody wants to take an L and get attacked, but SummerSlam gives him the chance to flip the script and get his revenge. Also, PSA, where's little Jahji? 2 straight weeks missing after introducing the Legacy US title is crazy. Sami Zayn jumps one spot to number 9 after cutting one of the best promos of his career on SmackDown. His acting was truly on another level. Raw, frustrated, and believable as he unloaded on Adam Pearce about how obvious it is that the higher-ups never wanted him as champion. 9 days after winning the title, he was forced to defend it. And when his opponent got hurt, CM Punk was handed the opportunity. And now that Sami's back in the hunt, he's watching people jump the line before he even gets a rematch? Yeah, Pearce didn't love the complaining, but he understood it. So we offered Sami one last shot. Sami versus the winner of the Fatal 4-Way main event, which ended up being Finn Balor for the number 1 contendership, and Sami having no choice except it, even though it does feel like he is being set up to get screwed again. Let's face it, Finn has all the momentum, all the support, and the entire weight of the narrative going for him right now. So Sami's fighting uphill with every single week that passes. So Ruka stays even at number 8 this week, and while she didn't show up on Raw, it actually made a little bit of sense. With Lyra Valkyria's heel turn officially locked in, the feud is clearly loading, slow burn style. The WWE is keeping Soul off TV for a minute so Lyra's new edge can breathe, build, and simmer before the inevitable clash. Soul's still one of the most electric rising stars in the division, and the moment she steps back into the spotlight, it's gonna be directly tied to Lyra's new villain run. So no movement in the rankings and no appearance on Raw, but all signs point towards Soul being a major part of the next big women's feud. Cody Rhodes drops 3 spots to number 7 after another flat and corny week. See, on SmackDown, he and CM Punk had a face-to-face that should have felt massive, but nobody really came out on top. And then Punk's music hit and he's about to leave, but Cody cuts it off just to say nothing impactful. Just the same old "I'll be standing tall at SummerSlam" QB1 speech we've heard 100 times. It wasn't even a battle, but somehow Cody still felt like the weaker presence, because until he commits to the full heel turn, this squeaky clean clean franchise quarterback persona is only getting cornier by the feud. To be real with you, it's giving early 2010s John Cena energy when the crowd started splitting on him and the PG act just couldn't keep up. Cody needs edge, not pep talks. Io Sky holds steady at number 6, but man, this feud is running on fumes. Just like I mentioned with Liv, Io's been stuck in the same back and forth segment for a month with her. And this week it was her turn to dish out the beating on Liv. See, she had the element of surprise. She pulled up with Danhausen and blindsided Liv, but even that stunt couldn't hide how stale the booking has become. Io's one of the most gifted wrestlers in the entire company, and Papa H has her trapped in a rinse and repeat storyline that's wasting her momentum. The only silver lining is she's most likely going to win the women's world title at Summerslam. But we've gotta be honest, Io and to an extent Liv deserve better feuds that match their levels and don't give them month-long loops. Seth Rollins jumps 2 spots to number 5, completing one of the cleanest climbs we've seen on the rankings. A month ago he debuted at number 20, now he's top 5. Now Jahji, why is that? Well, he shows up every single week and he puts in work. Now this week he stepped into an in-ring segment with Solo Sikoa, declined Solo's offer to help him take down Roman in the Bloodline, and then walked straight up to Jacob Fatu and called him Roman's lapdog to his face. That's a bold move. Actually, this is exactly what he said. When I beat Roman and take his title, do I get his bag boy too? Straight bold, disrespectful, and goes to show the exact kind of fire Seth's been bringing lately. So, no match. It looks like the Street Profits partnership was a one and done, but Rollins still found a way to make an impact and give us entertaining TV. Every week he delivers, and every week he climbs. Gunther climbs 1 spot to number 4 after delivering exactly what a contract signing should be: violence. On SmackDown, he and Nick Aldis made their SummerSlam match official, and the moment the ink dried, Gunther reminded everyone why he's the ring general. No hesitation, no theatrics, just pure dominance as he powerbombed Aldis straight through the table. It was clean, it was cold, and it was the perfect statement heading into one of the most anticipated matches of the summer. Gunther doesn't talk his way into momentum. He breaks someone in half and walks out. And after this week, Aldis knows exactly what he signed up for. Roman Reigns finally drops out of the top spot, falling 2 places to the number 3 position, and honestly, it might have been overdue. At first, showing up every other week was fine, but now he's barely wrestling, barely advancing the story, and the hype has completely dried up. With Punk showing up weekly as champion and contenders like Seth Rollins grinding every single show, Roman's absence is starting to feel less special attraction and more checked out. The nostalgia, the OTC aura, the tribal chief mystique, it can only carry him so far. And with 1 Raw left before SummerSlam, he's scheduled for a face-off with Rollins that'll probably end with a very predictable spear and nothing else. Roman, you've officially pissed off one of your most loyal supporters, me. If this is how it's gonna be the rest of your career, big dog, maybe it's time for you to retire. Oba Femi climbs to number 2, and at this point, the question is simple. Who gonna stop him? Does anybody remember I Show Speed? Who gonna stop me? No promos this week, but he's clearly warming up for Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. And even without a microphone, Oba still made noise. When JD accidentally tossed a bag of fake money onto Oba outside of Adam Pearce's office, an impromptu match got made on the spot. Oba walked to the ring, bell rings, and in under 2 minutes, he obliterated JD McDonough. Nothing fancy, nothing dramatic, just pure dominance. Like everything Oba does, it wasn't just a squash, it was a spectacle. And all I gotta say is, Brock better be stretching, praying, and hydrating because Oba's coming in looking unstoppable. CM Punk takes the number 1 spot this week, and he's earned it by doing the single most important thing a champion can do: show up. He didn't need a match, he didn't need a brawl, and he didn't need a 10-minute promo. All he needed was presence. On SmackDown, Punk and Cody had a face-to-face that looked even on the surface, but Punk still came out ahead by just being the cooler, calmer, already been there, already done that champion. Meanwhile, Cody's corny QB1 persona dragged him down, making Punk look even sharper by comparison. Punk didn't overdo it, didn't oversell it, he just stood there like the best in the world and your WWE Champion. So kudos to Punk for proving that sometimes showing up is all it takes to stay on top. Alright y'all, that wraps up the Fallout Top 25 for the week of July 26th through August 1st, 2026. SummerSlam is here, the drama is high, and Roman finally made me lose patience this week. And if you're mad at any ranking, go ahead and type your essay in the comments and I'll read it while practicing my Oba strut. And don't forget, the GTA 6 giveaway is still happening. 2 copies day 1. And if you don't enter, that's on you. Don't be in the comments 6 months from now like, Jahji bro, I didn't win. Well, you didn't win because you didn't follow directions. So go ahead and subscribe to Jahji, subscribe to Jahji Clips, follow me everywhere, then comment done on my latest upload so I know you're not lying like Cody cutting a promo. And hit like so the algorithm stops treating me like JD McDonough in a squash match. Hit subscribe so you don't miss next week's list, and share this video with a wrestling fan, or send it to a Roman fan so they can cry in 4K. SummerSlam is here, chaos is coming, and I'll see y'all in the next one, folks. Until next time, Jahji out.